So for today's 4K review, we got the new release of When Evil Lurks from Shudder. And in terms of packaging, don't expect anything too fancy. It's a standard 4K slipcover. I personally try not to get slipcovers unless there's no steelbook or special edition. But if the movie is so good that I have to have it for my collection, I'll go ahead and pick up the slipcover. The front features a silhouetted woman with an axe sticking out of her head. A brutal part of the movie that definitely is a fitting choice, considering the kind of movie this is. Inside the case, you'll find 2 discs. It does include a Blu-ray and your 4K disc. Same picture on the disc that is on the cover of the movie. Unfortunately, special features are bare bones. You only get behind the scenes photo gallery and that's it. No commentary, no interviews, no featurettes, so that's a bit of a letdown if you're into extras. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into some video specs. This has a native 4K resolution, but no Dolby Vision and no HDR10. The audio is a DTS HD Master 5.1. Not really too much to go over video specs wise, so let's go ahead and get into some video of how this actual movie looks. Right out the gate, the transfer had me worried. The very first scene is soft and heavy with grain. So much so that I immediately thought, uh-oh. But then the next scene shifts into daylight, and honestly, it brought back some of the hope. The daylight sequences are definitely where the transfer shines the most. It still doesn't scream razor sharp, but those outdoor shots offer a lot more clarity. Skin tones look nice, the vibrant green settings pop well without feeling oversaturated. That said, the whole transfer gives off a bit of a 2K intermediate vibe, despite being a native 4K. It's good, but not reference level. The more I watched though, the more the movie started to grow on me visually. One standout moment was the man lying in the bed. With the sores and infections, his makeup and gropes look disgusting in all the right ways. With visible detail in the redness and hair around the wounds, this is a really good standout moment for the movie. But it's not all good. The movie leans very contrast heavy, and that doesn't always help the image. In darker scenes, the grain looks more like a digital noise, especially during the drone shots at night. The black levels fluctuate sometimes, close to inky and black, but other times leaning more gray or washed out, particularly during the night scenes or at the elementary school. I'd give the black levels about a 7 out of 10. Those school shots were some of the weakest and overly soft, lacking detail in both clothing and background, and just feeling a little murky overall. The highlights are another issue on this disc. A lot of them are completely blown out. You'll probably want to turn down your backlight or contrast settings because it can look overly bright and crush in some spots. Honestly, it started to look better once I adjusted my TV, lowered the contrast and the color saturation, and from that point on, it became more of an enjoyable watch visually. The resolution is crisp, the blood effects look glossy and wet, and all the prosthetics hold up well in 4K. Fans of grotesque practical effects will have plenty to enjoy here. Viewer discretion on this next scene, it's pretty gory, but it's a good example on how nasty this movie can be in 4K. There are also moments where the transfer exposes things like some driving shots that are clearly fake in 4K. But again, I'd rather a transfer be so detailed that I notice that we're on a set, rather than be so blurry and washed out that I have no idea where we're at. The disc isn't perfect, but it's definitely the best way to watch the film right now. That said, I'm extremely curious to see what Second Sight does with their upcoming release. After doing some research, I found out that Second Sight's actually releasing a special edition of this movie itself. So maybe they'll tone down some of the highlights and clean up some of the noise. Who knows, but I'll probably be picking that one up just for the comparison. So now let's go ahead and get into some of the audio quality. I don't have too much to say about the sound. It's a solid overall mix, but not overly memorable in the terms of standout mix moments. The dialogue sounds clear, and you can crank up the volume without too much distortion, which is always a plus. The sound design is competent, but a lot of it just blends in. There are, however, a few moments worth calling out. The slimy, grotesque sound effects, especially when the bodies are being moved, sound nasty in the best way. During scenes of chaos, kids moaning, people screaming, everything happening at once, the mix does a great job of putting you in the stress-filled headspace. It almost gets overwhelming, and that's very intentional. Overall, the audio works. It's not demo-worthy, it's kind of forgettable, but it supports the film well and adds tension when it needs to. So for my final thoughts, When Evil Lurks is a fantastic horror film, with a decent but far from flawless 4K. The image has its highs and lows. Some shots look clean and crisp, while others are noisy, soft, or completely blown out in the highlights. The contrasty grade and inconsistent black levels might be more of a stylistic choice when it came to the coloring, but it definitely affects the viewer's experience. The package is basic, the special features are virtually non-existent, but for $15, it's hard to be mad. This isn't a disc I'll be keeping on my shelf for the quality of the transfer, but I'll be keeping it on the shelf because it's a good movie. It's not Hereditary levels of quality, that's still my go-to reference for a perfect 4K transfer, but this is easily the best way to watch the movie so far. But I'm definitely curious to see if Second Sight's upcoming edition can iron out some of the flaws and make this film shine in a way it really deserves to.